Since 2003, the nonprofit 3CDC has overseen $1.4 billion of development in downtown Cincinnati and over the Rhine. On the Business Courier front page centerpiece this week, how and why 3CDC works. An inside look at Cincinnati's irreplaceable redevelopment machine and what it's doing next. If it seems like 3CDC is involved in pretty much everything, it's because they basically are. They've overseen Urban Partners on the transformation of Metropole Apartments into 21C Museum Hotel, the headquarters for 8451, and its first project, the renovation of Fountain Square. There's a myth in Cincinnati that City Hall has backed up a truckload of public cash to OTR and let 3CDC go to town. But the vast majority of 3CDC's development is funded by private money. Nearly $1.1 billion comes from a number of places: conventional bank loans, funds created by Cincinnati's largest corporations to finance 3CDC, equity from development partners or tenants, and 3 types of state and federal tax credits, where the goal is to attract investment to struggling areas. Business Courier reporters Chris Wederick and Tom Demaropoulos wrote this 4-page story. Tom is here this morning with Joe Bruder-Miller, 3CDC's Vice President for Marketing and Communications. Tom, Joe.
Thank you, Allison. Joe, thanks for being here this morning.
Thanks for having me here today.
So 3CDC has been around for a long time now, but we wanted to take a look with this story and really tell not just what 3CDC does, because we see your projects around town and we see all the spaces you've activated, but we want to talk about how 3CDC works. So what is it that makes 3CDC unique in terms of its structure and how it works as an organization?
So I think one of the really unique things is the corporate leadership here in Cincinnati. Not only have they provided funding that has allowed us to do a lot of the redevelopment work that we've carried out over the past 15 years, but their active engagement in everything that we are doing. I think that really kind of sets us up in a different way than a lot of other cities have. And then when you combine that with kind of some creative financing from tax credits as well as just kind of traditional funding, there's a good mix when you also include public funding to do a lot of different work.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about what 3CDC, what you focus on in terms of what types of projects is 3CDC interested in doing, and it sounds like you really kind of fill a gap that wouldn't have been filled by the private market.
Yeah, that's correct. I think actually the biggest example of that is the civic spaces that we've renovated. So we've renovated Washington Park, Fountain Square, Ziegler Park, as well as Memorial Hall. And then not only are we a development or redevelopment company, but we also manage those spaces. We program them, so we're active in a number of ways in terms of not only the development itself, but then the management of the properties moving forward, as well as making sure that downtown Cincinnati is just active and vibrant, and we're bringing a lot of people down and attracting a lot of people to come live and work here.
And that's kind of a big part of 3CDC is the real estate kind of drives the opportunities, but it's that hands-on management that 3CDC has to continually keep doing, right? That's really important.
That's correct. You know, redeveloping these vacant structures or building new construction is kind of only one part of that. We also need to make sure that we're very cautious about making sure that we have good tenants coming in, and that we are kind of making sure that we're protecting our investment, providing safe and clean services, and making sure that folks feel safe, comfortable in and around the community.
And what's kind of coming up next for 3CDC? What are some areas that you're focusing on?
Well, obviously the big development we're working on is the downtown Kroger right there on Court Street, and we're actually doing a lot of development in that Court Street corridor. We've done a lot of work in both over the Rhine and down in the Central Business District. We'd like to connect those two areas, and so we're doing a lot of work in and around Court Street in the southwest corridor of the Central Business District, where we're looking at our 4th and Race project going up. That's a nice mixed-use development, and so those are kind of our primary focus areas moving forward.
Excellent. Well, Joe, a lot going on. 3CDC's got a lot on its plate, and really excited to have you here this morning, and thanks for the time. And